Hello, everyone. Jorge here with Avalos Cloud Native and Nexus Technologies. Nexus for connecting. It comes from the Latin. And what do we do here? We teach technology, cybersecurity, blockchain, AI, smart contracts. We have a community. We're looking for people who wants to join our community to develop applications, to develop platforms, to develop technologies. So feel free to reach out to me so we can do a one-on-one interview or with my team. Okay. So there is different levels to get in. For people with no experience, there is a fee to get in. You will always have coaching. You will reinvent yourself with many careers. And for people who have experience, who wants to add some value to our community, it's totally free. All right, so let's get started. All right, so we're gonna today having a lot of videos about blockchain technologies. One topic that I wanted to talk about is certificate authorities, right? So there is a request for change, RFC. Let's call this one, it's called number 5280. Okay, 5280. So right now, this is an example of a blockchain. So there is a ledger, which is the accounting book that keeps the transaction. There's two components in there, the word state and the transaction log, right? There is endorsers, which are basically peers, and there is committers, which are also peers. So peers they can have two status, endorsers or committers, or it could be both, okay? So we have a certificate authority. This is basically a server that is in charge of giving you certificate so you can participate on the network, whether you are an entity, organization, a user, support, a computer. What else could you be from that? An auditor, right? Or even the application itself. So the certificate authority, right? This person, this computer here is the one who is going to assign certificate to the user, certificates to the computer, the peer or node, certificates to the committer, right? Certificates to the user, or to who else? Yeah, so basically, if the computer does not have the certificate, you probably cannot participate in the network. You probably cannot endorse on the network. You probably cannot invoke any chain code or smart contracts, right? So Hyperledger, which is a framework for private and centralized blockchains, they decided to use the RFC 5280, right? So this is a startup for using X509 certificate, okay? So this request for change came in 2008, okay? 2008. Why was that? Because these certificates in here, they have been using it since 1998, right? So let me see, and almost 30 years ago, right? So 24 years ago, right? But they didn't have any standard, so they want to have a standard where the certificate, the format, or how the key, the user, the identity, how everything was listed, to basically have a standard of how the certificate will be packed together, or how it will be designed, or how it will be presented. So they came out with this framework, right? 5280 to standardize how these guys, the certificates will be used. Well, these two, right? This request for change and this certificate was basically the chosen one to be used by the Hyperledger Fabric Foundation. Okay, so if you didn't know that, now you know how it works. So for you to participate in the blockchain, or to invoke a smart contract from the user himself, for you to interact with the blockchain through the smart contract, because you cannot go, oh yes, I'm gonna go to the blockchain, I'm gonna modify everything. No, you need to have a smart contract. But the smart contract, the computer, the user, they all gotta be authenticated somehow, right? There is a private key, there is a public key, and if you don't have the private key or the public key, how can you participate on that? There's no way you can participate, right? So also, if your private key is compromised, right, you gotta revoke it, and there is a certificate revoke server list or whatever that it checks on that. So it's really important to take care of your private keys whenever you get a certificate X509, and make sure that you take care of your network. There's a lot of tools for managing. It's actually a different service. It's actually a service that there's companies who only specify on the only work, the only offering is basically certificate authority. There is a big company called Entrust here in Canada. Entrust is huge. Everyone knows Entrust all over the place. Or Let's Encrypt, for example, it's another one. There is many other. Even GoDaddy have their own certificate authority. So certificate authorities plays a big role on the internet today, and for authenticating, validating transactions, user identity, and much, much more. So now you know how the Hyperledger Fabric works. I'm going to make this video really short. This certificate authority, which is locally here, it could be locally something that you made it yourself, or it could be a company like Entrust. So it will be external here, external. Okay, so it will be external. So it's all up to you. Maybe you want to pay a certificate authority out there who will assign certificate to all these people, all these computers, all these systems, or you can have it locally here, right? Maybe you can have a few CAs, because maybe your membership service provider, right, the person who assigns what computer, what roles participate, right? Because you may not have control. You may say, you may tell a company, listen, you're gonna participate on my network, but you decide who is your people, who is not your people, who are your computers, who are not your computers. So you may have a few CAs, and every MSP may have their own CA too, right? As long as they have the main one too. So it's quite confusing, but that's how it works. Well, I hope you like the video. I know it looks messy, but you got the concept. You learn some history. 2008, 1998 is chosen by the Hyperledger Fabric Foundation. You can have an external CA, you can have internal CAs, and everybody needs to have a certificate. All right, thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed the video. Have a good day. Bye.